The Marvels is the last MCU offering of the year 2023, which has been a tumultuous year for Marvel Studios. And the question that we're here to answer today is whether or not they're ending marvelously or miraculously terribly. That's what we're going to be talking about today in our review of the Marvels. This is going to be a spoiler conversation, so we are going to spoil everything. We can give some early spoiler free thoughts, but this is largely going to be a conversation in which we are talking about everything. So if you haven't seen it yet and you care about spoilers, you're definitely going to want to watch it and come back and listen to what we have to say about this movie, because of course we are the judges of, quality. Yes. But before we talk about that, there is a game we like to play here. It's the Rotten Tomatoes game. And so these three, Marco, Cale, and Tyler, are going to guess the tomato meter score, which is the critic score, and the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. And whoever gets the closest without going over is the winner. And what do they win? Nothing. Who wants to go first?
Gotta
This is
get
a
that
tough
sweet
one.
no prize.
It's just especially tough because it's been everywhere. Like I'm not even online, and I've seen so much.
Oh, I haven't. I've avoided the Rotten Tomatoes in general for this one.
How?
Same.
It's in the
I've been
Discord.
playing Warcraft. There's no Twitter feed on my Warcraft.
I'm not on Twitter, and I'm seeing it. Like
I've avoided it as much as possible. I'd like to go first.
go.
I'm gonna do the tomato meter. Audience. No. Critics. I'm gonna say. Critics are gonna give it a 71.
Okay.
I'm gonna say audiences a 74.
Ooh. All right.
I don't think critics are going to be too hot on this one, to be honest. I think I'm going to give critics a 60 on this. But the audience score is a tricky one. Because I do think, as a movie, I think it would have a decently high audience score after having watched it. But as a movie about women, I think the audience score will be deflated because of that, because people on the internet suck. 75 audience score.
Okay.
I'm gonna say 66. Critics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 68 audience.
All right. So that makes Tyler number one with a bullet. Because Tyler, the actual tomato meter score, the critic score with 264 reviews is a 62%.
Oof.
Audiences, though, have been far more favorable, maybe surprisingly so, 85%.
Whoa.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say for audience, Tyler?
I said, what did I say, 70?
You said 75.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Tyler the victor.
I guess the Chads just decided to they knew this movie was gonna fuck itself, so they just decided not to review bomb it, and they just wouldn't go see it.
Care.
That's
or
why
maybe
it's doing
just
so poorly.
The amount of cat fans out there just helped even it out.
Yeah.
So, all right. Now that we've gotten the Rotten Tomatoes game handled and done, let's talk about the Marvels. Obviously, this is a movie that has had a tough time with, delays and, reshoots. A lot of those things, by the way, are normal, and delay-wise, it's just the result of what's been happening in Hollywood and, how everything has been affected by COVID and everything else. That being said, it is worth pointing out this is not Captain Marvel 2. It is not called that. It is very specifically the Marvels, and it is about these three women. And I think, obviously, Captain Marvel plays a part in that, but Carol Danvers took somewhat of a backseat to make space for the other women.
Yeah.
I'm going to come out the gate. And I'm going to say I had a lot of fun with this movie. I had
I
a
agree with
lot
you,
of
Sean.
fun.
I actually really liked it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it.
Go ahead, go.
Fucking love this movie.
There
No
we go.
way. What?
I had such a good fucking time.
Wow.
Even in the first part, like I was laughing. I was like up emotionally. Like sometimes when I this thing, I don't know if you guys experience this. Maybe you do. When you get happy, this thing on my face, like I couldn't control it. I had this. It was like I was showing my teeth. I don't know.
Oh, weird.
Is
Yeah.
it Ahiago? Is that how you
But I
pronounce
also
it?
had
No.
like, I don't think so. But I also had like my eyes were watering up. Like I was genuinely having a great time. I
Just turned to him and said, "Hey, actually,
I
you can go back to these with me."
I fucking love this movie.
If you're not a regular listener of ours, then you don't know how insane what Cale just said is, because I've never heard this in my life.
That's a rave review.
I've known him for
Straight-
7 years, 8 years. I've never heard
Straight
this.
up. I don't think I've ever felt this good about a Marvel movie. Doctor Strange, maybe?
The original? The first one?
No, two.
Okay.
Multiverse.
This was the most comic booky a Marvel movies felt in a long time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like some of this felt like identical to like the Kelly Sue run on Captain Marvel when she was with David Lopez at the time. And it just felt like that, especially when they go to not Atlantan or whatever the song world.
Atlanta. Aladana.
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Did you say Atlanta?
It was definitely Atlanta.
Yeah, they went to Hotlanta. Met some Real Housewives. No, but like that was just such a comic booky feeling thing. I think Iman Vellani is born for this.
God.
Like,
I didn't watch Miss Marvel.
dude,
I'm gonna watch Miss Marvel.
it is
I am-
this. Yeah,
I am in love with her. I had
mean-
such a good time with her.
her family is great in this.
Miss Marvel is my favorite MCU character, bar none.
I
It
think
might
so.
be up there for
Bar
me.
none.
I think Captain Marvel's still got it for me.
I think Brie
I-
Larson showed character actually in this, which was great.
I will defend Captain Marvel and Brie Larson and Carol Danvers with my life.
They did give her, I think, more of an emotional range here, which I think previously she was very stern, very to the point, and I don't think it gave us a lot to work with. Whereas here, it allows it allows us to feel sympathy for her. It allows us to like sit there alongside her guilt. There's a lot there that gets done that should have been done, I think, in the earlier films to give her a bit more of a characterization. But I'm glad that we got it here and that she got to bounce off the two other characters.
The plot and story for Captain Marvel in the MCU has severely hampered her as a character. I think setting the original movie in the past and then having to explain her absence throughout all of the MCU's history has made her character seem reserved and jaded and kind of not Carol Danvers that were like, this is more Civil War 2 Captain Marvel. And I think this movie
Distant.
did a lot of remedying that and showing that she's a little goofy, that she has she has emotions and she does care about these things, but is the person that has to make the tough call every single time and how that weighs on her. And I think Brie did honestly a kind of an understated decision on the way she acted in this too. I don't think she's ever huge on one side or the other side of the equation in terms of her emotional range, and I think that works for the character.
It's tempered.
Yeah, which is what Carol Danvers is, even in the comics.
And I think giving her the chance to put those emotions out with characters who have an emotional connection to her one way or another, humanize her in different ways. And they explicitly say that in the movie. Like,
Yeah.
There's a part, this isn't a spoiler, it's one line. Miss Marvel says, "I didn't give you the chance to be a human." And I was like, that's like talk about putting the dialogue on the nose, but like it's exactly what that character, both of those characters needed.
And I think setting her with Monica and Kamala is great because those two are the exact opposite ends of that spectrum.
Yeah.
Monica is very guarded because she's had to be. She has to kind of be the stern one. The people she's cared about left her or died. So she's very pent up. And Kamala is just only emotion. She cannot control herself. Is goofing around all the time, but cares and cares deeply. There's that one bit where Monica's telling her story about how, she blipped and missed her mom's death. And Kamala just goes up and hugs her. And I'm like, that is Miss Marvel in its purest form. And then how she like forces, Carol to also join in on the hug. And it's a little cheesy, sure, but it's so right for those characters. And I loved it. I thought that was great.
Cute and wholesome. It's good.
So let's talk, let's talk spoilers. I thought the acting was great by and large. I really enjoyed the performances, good stuff here. I think if you've seen the trailers, like it's that. It really is. I don't think the trailers did the movie a disservice. I just think that you need to see it play out.
Yeah.
It doesn't work as well in the trailers. The gimmicks and things that they have, like, for example, it's introduced very early on, the switching between characters.
Yeah.
And in the trailers, I was pretty annoyed by it, to be honest. It's maybe the music had something to do with that too, because they had the what was the band they had?
Beastie Boys.
Yeah, they had the Beastie
Yeah.
Boys music over it.
Mm.
And
And they would switch whenever the beats, they would like in tune with the beat, I think, in the trailer.
Yeah, so the trailer kind of turned me off, but the way it was presented in the earlier bits of the movie, I thought was really fun. Where, the three women are switching every time one of them uses their powers, and, Kamala's going from her house to a spaceship, to the middle of the air and has to be saved. Fighting, Spectrum, whatever, Photon might be fighting someone, and then she blips out, and now Captain Marvel's fighting that person. But when Captain Marvel's fighting you, it's a lot different than when Spectrum is fighting you, and different than when Kamala's fighting you. So I like that it allowed them to all express their differences in how they fight. I loved how they were all invested in protecting Kamala's family. That was a really fun angle to it. Setting the fight in the home was really fun and smart.
I think this movie had some of the best action scenes in a Marvel movie.
Yo.
The fight scenes.
Yeah.
I think so.
That between the space elevator or whatever and Kamala's house, that to me, that combination to me felt like the Daredevil hallway scene. Like I really thought the choreography was just on point.
There was a short one take where they were showing everyone's reaction and all the chaos that had just ensued. It was a pretty good shot, I thought.
Yeah.
So, if you haven't seen Miss Marvel, Kamala's whole origin is explained there. I think it's unfortunate that we know, right, that so many people going into this movie won't have seen her before. So they don't know all the backstory. That being said, I think that the script does a good enough job of giving you an idea of who she is, and they do it pretty quickly. We're introduced to her as a fanboy, a fangirl, excuse me, where she's just in love with Captain Marvel, and that's her hero, that's her aspirational character. And in Miss Marvel, that in the show, that's a fun bit that they play with. But in this movie, there's a purpose because she finally gets to meet her idol. And I love how that's played.
That's that was well done, and there's especially the moment where the Kree planet's getting destroyed, or rather the Skrull planet, and she Captain Marvel makes a call, and it does not sit well with Miss Marvel and with Kamala, and it I think somebody said it earlier. It confronts her with having to humanize her hero and her idol, and she has to realize, oh, hold on a second, like these are people, like yeah, they're superheroes. Yeah, they have those heroics, but there's a depth to them that she hadn't considered that makes them human. But she can't take that to be bad. It is just human. And that's something that she has to take or she has to swallow and like learn how to appreciate, which character good growth I thought for her.
I
I
think
could have used a little more conflict in that moment.
Sure.
Because it shows it, but we don't really we don't see Kamala's journey with that.
We don't linger with it necessarily either.
Right.
Yeah.
which I mean, Sean, do you know the runtime of this movie? Do you have that?
Yeah. So this was the shortest Marvel movie at 105 minutes, which is
Wow, really?
just over an hour and 40 minutes. So
Yeah.
very short.
And they don't slow down in this movie. This movie is boom, 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 which I kind of enjoyed. I liked the
Yeah.
pacing of
Yeah.
it, honestly. But I think because of that, you don't get that time to linger in that moment like Cale had wanted.
But I think it's maybe a lesson learned from something like Love and Thunder, where like I remember the Black and White Planet, man, snooze, dude. Like there's so much you could accelerate for the sake of the story and for the sake of stakes, frankly, that I think this movie does well.
Man, somebody liked my Letterboxd review of the Marvels last night, and I looked on their profile and their top 4 movies of all time, Thor: Love and Thunder was on there, and I was like, I'm uninstalling this app. This is
Oh, it was Marco.
Got me.
So we get introduced to the villain, Dar-Ben, I think her name was.
Yep.
Dar-Ben, played by Zawe Ashton.
Yeah, Tom Hiddleston's wife, actually.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
Yeah, good for both of them.
Yeah.
I like the character, I guess. Like I like that she was inspired to do what she's doing and to take up the mantle because of what Captain Marvel the what she wrought upon these people. She destroyed the supreme intelligence and that threw the Kree world into chaos. Hala is dying, and it's pretty directly because of what Captain Marvel did. And so in this character of Dar-Ben, we have someone who is sort of righteously angry.
Yeah.
And you can definitely make arguments against her actions, and the Kree are positioned as bad, but there is a little bit more nuance to this than I thought there was in Captain Marvel, like to the presentation of the Kree overall.
I couldn't tell you anything about
yeah.
the villain of Captain Marvel.
Well, in Captain Marvel, it's framed as, Carol is betrayed by the Kree, and the Kree are evil, and the Skrulls are, refugees and everything else. And they're on the run from the Kree, basically. And in this movie, we see that Captain Marvel's actions really hurt the Kree, who were just the people under control by an AI that was telling them what to do. So I love the way it flips that story. It's just that there's no Kree for us to connect with, right? Like there's no good Kree. The only Kree we spend time with is Dar-Ben, and she doesn't talk enough.
Yeah.
The only other Kree besides her was Ronan, and his thing was the same,
I'm talking about in this movie because the first one had several Kree.
fair.
Guy Pearce or whatever. Jude Law, thank you. Guy Pearce. What is that?
I remember
Jude Law, yeah.
I think to that there's a level of maybe a bit of nuance that could have been added to those the treaty scenes, her arriving to damn, I just pulled it up. Whatever, the water music planet. Cuz
Atlanta.
yeah, cuz I think I think her character is positioned well, and they had an opportunity to maybe deal into like the politicking of it. Like you're right, they aren't necessarily evil, they are just trying to save their planet. You can provide the Kree a bit of sympathy. I think a lost opportunity, but not necessarily one that overall impacted the narrative, because I think it still functioned.
Yeah.
For me, she looked like a bad guy.
Right.
The first thing we see her doing is going after the band.
Yeah.
And like she looks like a bad guy. Like she doesn't even look like Ronin, or she doesn't even look like the other Kree that we've seen before. She looks like Rita Repulsa from the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah.
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 Like she looks like that. So when she's in that treaty scene, I'm sitting here going, well, like she's not good. Like it was like she said, okay, this is what's going on. We're going to afford the Skrulls this benefit. And I said, okay, but like this is going to turn. And then it does. And it doesn't even feel like a face turn.
Right.
It's just, it feels like just like a turn the salt shaker is, it's like,
Yeah. It's the moment where it's like, hey, I'm bad, but I got an excuse for this,
yeah,
Whereas, Magneto is a nuanced character because he's got a really good point. What
Yeah.
makes him bad is the action that he takes. And I guess that's sort of the same thing here. It's just that it didn't feel like her only thing was, I want what's best for my people. She seemed to enjoy, what she was doing to the Skrulls, like the idea that they would be ruined by this action. And maybe she does, because those are the Kree's eternal enemies. So I just felt like there was nuance missing that made it harder for me to connect with her, especially because of what Cale said. She just presented as bad.
Yeah.
like I felt for the Kree planet and the people on the Kree planet,
Follow.
especially as people, as they were getting the resources they needed. It's like, okay, yeah, that I get that. That makes sense.
But sorry, Ewan.
But to that point, like that's all I got.
Yeah, I only cared once they showed me the planet. She should have
Yeah.
been the spokesperson for that.
It was cool to see Supreme Intelligence in like the comic booky version. So that was neat.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
we see that?
Yeah, we did.
Oh,
There's a
yeah.
scene.
Where she
There's a
got-
don't
scene that
remember
shows her destroying it. Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I only
just
remember
blowing
it
up
The
happening.
things.
big head thing. Yeah. I
Mm.
did pop for that a little bit.
Guess I missed it.
Yeah. I like that part. I'll tell you what I had a problem with. I thought most of the acting was phenomenal. Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, rough.
Mm.
And I'm not blaming Sam. I'm
Yeah.
saying that if you watch Secret Invasion and then you immediately watch this, which is his next appearance, it is not the same character.
Bro, he was a
Whiplash.
I
big
thought.
character, dude.
I was under the assumption that Secret Invasion is after this because there was so much whiplash.
I mean, it's not that. It's that Nick
Totally.
Fury's not just, he's just not presented this way.
Really, Nick Fury is the comedy relief of this movie. He's the B plot. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
complete goofball, and that just felt very weird to me. I really dislike that, and I'm
Nick-
getting tired of seeing Nick Fury.
Nick
And
Fury's
that was-
whole arc is based on cats and kittens.
And that was, the whole thing about the first one too. It's just like, Samuel L. Jackson is a great character actor. And Nick Fury is a great character, but like you can't have the diehard guy be the all-knowing Nick Fury. Like this guy doesn't know anything.
Well, I feel like Nick Fury's been utilized pretty well in the past. We've seen his
Yeah.
scheming in Avengers. We know that he has wheels within wheels of plans and things like that. He's got a dry sense of humor. He's a bit of a dick. Where is all that? This dude was just lost in the sauce the whole movie.
But yeah, at this point, that was what, 2012? It's been 10 years. I'm wondering how he got away with it.
Watch Secret Invasion, because that
No.
character, well, fair enough, but that version of Nick Fury is consistent with what we've seen before. It's this one that's a deviation.
The
And
villain-
I don't know if that's because maybe this isn't Nick Fury and it's a Skrull, which I know there was a tease of something like that there was a Skrull impersonating Nick Fury on Earth.
It was
So maybe there's a
Talos.
reason.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Talos was the one impersonating him on Earth, wasn't it?
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So maybe there's some other explanation, but honestly, I think they just slotted Nick Fury in the role they needed him to play in this movie, and I just don't like that.
Frankly, you could have swapped out another whatever space station lead, and I don't think you would have gotten he did not bring anything to the character or to the moments and to the scenes, because whatever, he's running around Gotta catch the cats now.
This would have been a perfect spot for Coulson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring
Sure.
him
Yep.
back. Hell yeah.
100%.
I like Coulson a lot too. So
Yeah, I do too.
Imagine,
And
yo,
he can
they
actually
give
move
him-
around, unlike Sam Jackson. No offense, this
Yeah.
guy's getting older.
They
You
finally
see-
give him the promotion he's always wanted. He's like, you got to get to space station, and it just gets fucked up.
I like how Sam Jackson's action scene is just him sitting down in a chair the whole time.
Well, you see him come out of that spaceship at the end of the movie, stretching his back. I said, "Ooh, that is
was
not
real.
acting."
That's
Yeah, that
real.
was real. Dude, it's hard watching him in Secret Invasion, honestly, because
It's hard watching him here.
Yeah.
The whole plot and everything that's happening between the Marvels revolves around these quantum bands, the bangle from the Marvel or the Miss Marvel show. There was a tease in Shang-Chi, I think.
That's right.
About a reference to another bangle, or maybe that was in Eternals, but either way,
No,
there was
Shang-Chi.
a reference.
You're right.
Okay. To there being another one, and we're seeing that play out now. Which I liked. I thought that was cool that we finally got to address that.
Yep.
Definitely doesn't matter to you as much if you haven't watched Miss Marvel, which is another ding, although it's not the movie's fault. And that's a good point. Cale, you didn't see it. What did that plot have? Do you feel like it could have had more weight to you?
I liked it. I liked the bangle as the MacGuffin or whatever. And especially Kamala's connection to it. Her connection to the bangles in general. I don't know necessarily how how that fuels her powers, if it fuels her powers or whatever. So like that part I felt a little lost on, but it worked for me.
There was that scene towards the end where the bangle comes off, but she still has the.
That's why I was a bit
She's a mutant.
confused.
The bangles activated her powers.
Right.
So
right.
technically, she does not need them for her powers. She wears it because it was her grandma's.
The point there being though, there's ambiguity because it only starts her action sequences with the bangle on, and when it finally does, and she still has them, it's like, wait, hold on a second, because I got confused for a second, and I forgot that that she was a mutant, and that all ties into whatever that was. I'm like, oh, that's right, it's not the bangle, it's something else.
Yeah.
Cale, having also not watched the show, how do you feel about this version of her power set rather than the stretchy arms?
It didn't bother me.
I think
That's
this is
fine.
more visually appealing, honestly.
I like that it connects her more to Carol and Photon. Monica.
Professor Marvel.
Monica Rambeau.
Um,
Professor.
I like those three acting as a triumvirate and their powers sort of bouncing off each other and being connected in that way.
I liked it at first. I kind of soured on it after a while in reference to the power the space swapping, because I started to think
Well, that's your problem.
why is this? What is this? Like, why is this happening? What is happening? How is this controlled? Why does this feel so contrived? At a certain point, it started to be like, all right, they're going to switch whenever it's dramatically required. And they're not going to explain why they don't switch when it's not dramatically required. And I don't like things like that.
They only switch when they use their powers at the same time.
Right. So, of course, whenever
at the
Miss
same
Marvel,
time. Okay.
right, whenever Miss Marvel would actually be dead, that doesn't happen.
Sure,
like when she was using her power to create steps for her to jump on, of course, no one else was using their powers at that time, even though they were all fighting.
And what about when Photon and Captain Marvel are flying?
Right.
Don't think about it too hard.
It's just like I don't want to not think about it. I want to think about it and go, that's consistent.
Right.
There's a reason.
It I don't know. Yes, I thought about it, but then I just sort of like there were a couple moments that I sort of jolted out, where she would light Captain Marvel would light her power up and nothing would happen. I go, why isn't anything happening?
Right.
But I don't know. It sucked me back in. So like, yeah, I agree, but also it didn't bother me.
I did appreciate the training montage. Like I like that we had that moment of just like, okay, they're growing with their powers, they're trying to understand. Fine, we're getting ready for the big bad.
That that jump rope green screen though was not great.
I didn't even notice that. I was so enraptured
Not-
by.
I love the
didn't.
jump rope. Yeah, I love the
I-
montage.
No, I love the bit. I love the idea. But if you watch the actresses, you can tell that they are
Oh,
and
really?
nobody's on the other side.
Oh wow.
You
I
can also
didn't
tell that
notice that.
Monica's the only one who knows how to jump rope.
Yeah.
Well, I think, Cale, that you just hit on probably like the overall issue that I have with the movie, which is that it's really fun, right? That's not an issue. It's really fun. And the actors involved make it pop.
Yeah.
But if you look too hard at anything in particular, it's like, oh, let me forget about that. Ha 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 ha. That's really funny. Even the very first scene, the very first scene involving Darben on that planet where they find the band, I was like, oh, this looks shitty.
Yeah.
And nothing funny had happened yet, so I was really just focused on that. And I was like, God, this looks awful. This like these shitty rocks and this fake space. It just looked bad to me.
For
You
some
can
reason, it
feel
was specifically the number 2 guy. He was like, I was like, something about him.
Who
was just
was
like,
he?
He
I
looked like he was in a
recognize him.
different movie than this.
Word.
Yeah.
Discount second in chair, bro.
And why did he have a man bun? Like, is that intergalactic?
Yeah, man.
I couldn't-
The Kree get our trends a little too late. It's space time, and it's the thing.
I couldn't tell if he was supposed to be, like Bill Murray in Quantumania. Like I
Right.
couldn't tell if he was supposed to be somebody, and maybe I just didn't know,
Yeah.
if he's a YouTuber or something.
Is that where we're at with Marvel films, YouTubers?
Well, I just like, I mean, who else could it be that
yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I did have and this is just the one gripe on the parents being brought up to this like super secret whatever thing. I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. You're suddenly just bringing up the family. Fine, we're gonna get bits. Fine, it's there for maybe some plot or something. But the what's it? Fury's being very liberal with this, access.
It's bad.
I agree, but also at the same time, I think you need to have Kamala's family there as an
they're
anchor.
essential for
Agreed.
her arc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's an anchor,
agreed,
especially
agreed.
if people did not watch the show.
It was just like it was a very obvious just non consistency with Fury and like the activities at large. But for plot purposes, I think it did well.
Yeah, that shit ain't happening with Shield.
Well, I mean, shit, it probably did.
Yeah, that's
Like
true.
I said, these guys aren't the same ones. I generally like I said, I fucking love this movie. I didn't hate the song Planet like I immediately thought I would. I actually
Loved it.
really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. The thing that got me though was the cat wrangling. and
Why
the
you didn't like that?
fucking- It was just like
with Katz's memory from Cats playing in the background.
The Flurkins?
I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it's from
I
the musical
don't- I
Cats.
guess I don't know cats.
Yeah.
It
Not an
was
Andrew Lloyd
just-
Webber fan.
in that moment, I think, I know that we needed to get those people off and I felt like they planted the seed really, really well.
Yeah.
So it's not even like it came out of nowhere. I felt like what they did paid off. But it was just in this, the third act, it felt like quite a bit. Like this is a massive departure from where we should be going.
It was silly.
Too
was very
silly is
silly.
my point. Yeah.
Yeah. It almost broke down the movie for me,
Yeah.
but man, I don't know. Something about those cats just swallowing people whole. Like I
It's
just
pretty-
kept laughing.
Yeah,
It-
the
yeah,
Boar
it-
fans
it-
were loving it.
Well,
But also, like
Yeah,
the whole bit with like Goose eating all the random stuff throughout the movie, and then you see at the end where Goose has her nest, and it's like, oh, there's Kamala's mom's couch cushion in there.
Yeah.
Like it's like, yeah, it is seated very well. Like it all makes sense.
yeah. But it just like that type of silliness for me was just like, we're ramping up here. I need a little less of this.
Bridge
Well,
too
it's a
far.
common problem that the Marvel movies have where they don't allow you to take them seriously sometimes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And I do feel like this is a better one of those because it does, you know, it's a stepping stone, and that's fine. And it successfully gets us from here to here, and it does actually serve the plot. But it took me out pretty hard.
It feels like what every D&D group does whenever they get a bag of holding. It's like, I'll just shove everyone in it. You know?
Yeah.
So speaking of the end,
before we
get
get
to
the
this.
end, can I ask one question, Sean? Valkyrie and her little cameo in this. Very bi-coded. Her and Captain Marvel. Something happened there. But B, doesn't that negate all Secret Invasion? Like if the Asgardians could have given the Skrulls the home they were looking for this whole time?
No, because the Skrulls came to Earth 30 years ago or something, and New Broxton, Oklahoma, being or wherever it is that they have brought these Skrulls, that's a new established thing. That wasn't always there.
But I guess I don't know. Maybe if they asked Valkyrie during Secret Invasion, then we could have had less episodes for me to watch, which I would have enjoyed.
They weren't fighting for that though. That wasn't the point of the show. They wanted control. They wanted Earth.
Revenge.
They didn't just want Oklahoma.
Fair.
So the ending of the movie, right, sees this big battle between the Marvels and Darben. And it's a really it's a really cool looking fight.
Yeah.
And the switching is done here as well, and it's all cool and looks really great. I had a lot of fun watching it. Personally, this was the same problem I had with the Guardians final fight. I don't necessarily love it when the heroes overpower the villain because it sucks the tension out of the fight. There's just no chance in hell that Darben is going to beat them. I don't believe it. And on top of that, I had a really hard time with the fact that Captain Marvel put boots to ass on Thanos, and yet she couldn't just mollywop everybody in this movie.
I had the same thought, and they kept they kept inferring that any power that Miss Marvel put out or Captain Marvel put out would get absorbed by the band, and so just reflected back. So my assumption was she's in the process of continually just being depowered by being around her. Anytime she's approaching Darben, she is just like not able to emit as strong as she would.
And
It's
I
going to
read
give
it.
her power.
And I read it too as her protecting Monica and Kamala simultaneously because
just punch her in the head.
Sure, I know, but you can't absorb that. But like, she didn't want that the energy power of it all to be shot back at Kamala or Monica. But at the same time, she's flying through spaceships in this movie, so like
none of that was stated. Like it's just one of those things where the movie's just not interested in dealing with Captain Marvel's power level.
But even then, at the end, where she's just like, "Oh, just go turn the sun back on," I'm like, "Wait, hold on, you're giving me way too much, too little scale, or too much scale for the power." It's like, fine,
yeah,
it
doesn't make sense.
She needs a stat squish.
Yeah,
the stat baseline, I guess.
I mean, the power scaling thing was a little fuzzy towards the end, but I did enjoy the fight, and I enjoyed the fact that ultimately Captain Marvel had to right a wrong, because ultimately, the Supreme Intelligence, they'd have to go, but she did have to right this wrong, and I appreciated the fact that she did have the ability to do that, even though I also thought, how the hell did you not think of this before if you're that damn strong?
Yeah.
What I got in this movie is that she ain't that bright. Not in a bad way. She's got too much on her plate to actually pay attention to the smaller details.
Fair.
Yeah. And that she needed other people to make her better.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it also
I'm into that.
It let Miss Marvel hit the Wonder Woman pose too, which I thought was pretty cool. When she smashes the bands together.
Oh, Wakanda Forever.
Oh yeah. Did you say Wakanda? Or did you use no?
So she gives the sun back. She helps the Kree. She saves Hala. Captain Marvel's the hero of the movie. I really like that. Um, Miss Marvel says to her, that was such a fun team up. And then we get what I didn't realize was considered an after credit scene, because I feel like it just came on right after like whatever the last scene was. And it's her reaching out to Hawkeye.
Oh
Kate
yeah,
Bishop, Hawkeye.
Miss Marvel
Miss Marvel,
specifically,
yes.
Kamala
Yeah.
reaching out. Yeah,
I thought that was such a good idea because she's such a fan about it that she would absolutely be like, "Yo, you want me to lead a team or like make a team? 100%. He's who I have." Like, and then the intel thing bit came back. I like that a lot.
She's aping Nick Fury from the end of Iron Man 1, where he approaches Tony and says, "Hey, you thought you were the only superhero? I got a team for you." Blah blah blah. How Kamala Khan knows that is the approach that Nick Fury had with Iron Man is beyond me. But it's a cute scene that really underscores the value of Iman Vellani and the Miss Marvel character to the greater universe. And I am so excited to see these young Avengers start to actually play off of each other.
And they even name drop Cassie in it too, so we know like even on Quantum Mania, yikes, Cassie can be in this too. Honestly, I feel like Avengers Kang Dynasty is that Young Avengers movie.
Iron Lad.
Exactly. Yep.
That makes sense.
All the variants around. Iron Lad is one of the variants of Kang.
That makes sense.
So,
We need Patriot. Oh no, we have Patriot.
We have Patriot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait,
We
who's
have a
Patriot?
Hulkling sort of that they want to do more Scar.
There's in Captain Winter Falcon Winter.
Yes.
Falcon Winter. Yeah.
That's the one.
Oh, the
Falcon
kid.
goes to visit. Yeah,
Right,
Falcon
right,
goes
that's
to visit
right.
Elijah Bradley,
Yes.
who was the other Captain America in the initial super serum tests.
Right.
But he didn't get the fame and stuff. And he has a grandson who
Mhm.
in the comics takes mutant growth hormone to become Patriot.
Interesting. Okay.
Don't look too hard at the mutant growth hormone.
Yeah. That
But
could be anything. Yeah.
I mean,
that's who it is.
But technically not out of the realm of possibility with.
Well, I'm just saying there are other ways that the MCU will play that.
Sure.
Falcon and Winter Soldier had a super soldier serum in it that people were taking. So like,
Yeah.
it is doable. And you got America Chavez too running around out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wanda's kids are in some form of multiverse,
That's right. Yeah, I was gonna say they'll
could be
probably show up.
aged up a bit. Kid Loki is out there somewhere. Like,
Ooh, no, thank you.
they're all there.
Yeah.
The gang's all here, except for like Hulkling proper. But
I'm excited. It's overdue in the sense that we needed to see these characters interacting. It took a long time, but we're here.
This
I really want.
What Jess and I always say is all of this stuff that we're finally getting to is what they should have been doing in 2012 to keep us around.
Mm-hmm.
Like a Hawkeye film or a Hawkeye TV show in 2012 would have kept my fire going. Like,
Starring Jeremy Renner, you mean?
well, no, but
Oh, well.
The point being, Captain Marvel, the film, should have come around, earlier. Black Widow, the film,
There were people keeping that from happening, but yes.
Well, yeah,
Mistaken.
but they were wrong.
That was the Avi Arad era, right?
Avi Arad,
Avi Arad, yeah.
among many others.
Who's now doing what did he just get announced as doing?
Zelda.
no idea.
Zelda.
Zelda.
What?
Yeah.
So there is one more post-credit scene. This is the one that had everybody talking.
I popped.
So at the very, very end of the movie, we lose Monica. She, makes the sacrifice play to close the hole between universes, right? And she ends up on the other end of that. So she ends up in another universe, and she's unconscious, and she wakes up. She wakes up next to her mother, which of course is a scene that's meant to evoke the fact that Monica was gone. She got blipped, and her mother was in the hospital and she wasn't there to watch over her. In this case, her mother is presumably the person who saves her from space and brings her to where she is. How could her mother do that considering she doesn't have powers? Well, Captain Marvel and the Marvels tease the fact that Monica's mother should have been Captain Marvel. In this universe, she's Binary, who is a nickname of Captain Marvel.
Before we get into the rest of that, man, that costume looked bad.
Yeah,
it
that
wasn't
did
the
not
best.
look
Yeah.
good.
I mean, but also that Binary costume in general is not great. It's a flaming bikini.
Sure.
Like the powers need to be on for it to look good. But did you notice she was wearing both quantum bands?
Oh,
I
I
didn't
didn't.
catch that.
didn't.
Yeah,
I was
I was
busy.
trying to rewatch it for the other guy that's in that scene online, like handycam footage of it, and she has both quantum bands on.
Sick.
Yeah, I was
which
busy thinking about how that looked like a chunky 2000s like foam suit.
I loved it. But yeah, both quantum bands means that she would then have the ability to open up gates to another universe. So
America Chavez then, right?
sort of, yeah. It was
Yeah.
very
More power.
incursion-y too. It felt like Hickman's Incursions. You know,
Which
these
we
two-
already know are a
yeah.
thing.
But like the fact that those
That
two
vibe,
Earths
yeah.
were just so close to each other, and just a thin layer between the two,
Yeah.
and how each of them have these now presumably huge hero sets that are completely wildly different from each other. Like Secret Wars is right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So the big reveal, though, is that Binary takes, Monica, her daughter from another dimension, to presumably the X Mansion, and we see Kelsey Grammer's Beast. Wow.
This hit me like a baseball bat.
Dude, as soon as you,
I
yeah,
I sat there agape.
dude, whenever he walks by the camera and you see a blue hand, I was like, I literally went, "It's Beast." I don't talk during movies. I couldn't help myself. I love Hank McCoy when he's not a genocidal maniac.
Listen, everybody has their flaws.
Yeah,
I've been so into Cheers and Frasier, and I watched the new Frasier pilot. Bad, don't watch it. But Kelsey Grammer is right here for me, and I went. I didn't move.
that voice is unmistakable.
Yeah,
And they really leaned into the X-Men animated series version of the Beast. He's like big in the shoulders. He's got the extra pointy hair. It's not quite X3 Beast with Hank, with Kelsey Grammer in full makeup. This is full CG. But dude, I thought he looked good. Honestly,
for once,
good.
yeah,
That
it
looked
didn't
good.
look bad.
Yeah.
Looked pretty cool. I popped, obviously. There were only 20 people in my theater, so there just wasn't much of a reaction to it. And I also unfortunately already knew that there would
Oh,
be.
did you really?
I didn't know
Man.
Beast specifically, but I knew that there was a heavy X-Men reference. And they showed the doors, and it looked like the doors to the room, to the healing room from X2 or X3 or
yeah.
wherever we saw that. So
which is, I mean, kind of expected because the next movie is Deadpool, which is in that universe, right? Presumably.
Presumably, yeah.
I think it's all of them.
Yeah, and Deadpool has Cable's time travel thingy, so I don't know if that can be multidimensional or whatever. But is this leading up to the Foxverse versus the MCU?
Yo, that'd be crazy.
Because the only thing that could come close to the on your left scene of Endgame is an on your left scene with Tobey Maguire, with Hugh Jackman, with Ben Affleck, with everyone. That's the next logical step up.
We're about to get a flashpoint with a CG Ben Affleck Daredevil.
No, I want depressed Dunkin' Donuts Ben Affleck.
I know what you want, but what I'm telling you is you're not getting that. You're getting Nicolas Cage, and you're gonna like it.
Oh, Nicolas Cage as Ghost Rider. Yeah, let's do that too.
So then, but if we're just getting mutants in our MCU, does that mean that maybe we can assume that Kamala's technically not even from our universe?
I think that's
Whoa.
going too far. Yeah.
holy shit.
Kamala
I
has
don't
never
think so.
really been stated as being a mutant as much as having a mutation. Does that distinction make sense?
It does, but if our universe doesn't have a mutation as like a concept, and she has these bands. Could her grandmother have come from a different universe to our universe, and it might inadvertently kickstart the mutation process because it was coming from the one that actually already has it.
Well, her mother comes from a Jin universe, the Noor universe, so yes, she does come from a different universe. But I think that MCU does not have mutants, which highly
Yeah,
established.
you gotta watch the show, Kale.
Yeah, you had a little whiplash there. So I think once Secret Wars happens, it'll be like the comics, like they pick and choose what they want to keep. Like we
Sure.
kept Miles Morales, they're going to keep
Yeah.
mutants, and then that's our main universe going forward.
Oh, Spider-Verse gonna cross over? That'd be cool.
If they don't bring Miles Morales live action into the Secret Wars thing, they're fucking up.
We'll save all that talk for another time on the main show. I I thought this was a really fun movie. It was enjoyable, but it does have some problems. I think it gets a bad rap, and it's tanking right now. It's bombing
In scores or sales?
sales. So it based on Friday, this is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, it earned 21.5 million. It looks to be headed to an opening of 47 to 52 million, and that would make it the worst start in history for the MCU.
Yikes. Is that within projection?
That is what the Hollywood Reporter suggests. That's what the new projection is.
Oh, okay, okay. Adjusted from. I guess one question I had. Do you guys feel like this movie is the difference maker for people who maybe aren't as keen on the MCU anymore? Like, should this be the thing that you can send people to be like, hey, you know what, they're coming back, or do we need a little more?
This, I think at this point, and we've said this on the show, we need an Avengers film for that.
Mm.
I think yes, this has all the cool superhero-y comic booky stuff, and it's cool and it's great. But I think I think audiences are gonna want either something Captain America, Winter Soldier level, or we gotta get an Avengers film. It's been years.
We had two Marvel movies this year that were solid. I think Guardians is a much better movie overall. I probably had more fun with this.
Yeah.
But this is a good start. I mean, the numbers don't reflect it. I think the Marvels was destined for failure, and I don't think that has anything to do with how good or bad the movie was going to be. That being said, I don't think the trailers did it too many favors. Obviously, the strike didn't help because you couldn't get these, first of all, these fantastic actors, right? These people who seem to really care about these characters. You couldn't get them in front of people to talk. And that's a big thing, especially for a film studio that is struggling right now. They needed to get these actors out there, and they couldn't. So, yeah.
And on top of that, all the news that we had during the strikes was that Marvel's going down the toilet, and Nia DaCosta, the director, has fucked off to do another film. So why should you care?
Sure.
Which honestly, as a directed movie, I thought it was pretty good. You know?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I noticed things that I liked
Exactly.
in the
yeah.
direction. Like it wasn't Secret Invasion. You know what I'm saying? Like where you just watch it and it's like, all right, this is paint by numbers. There were interesting things here from a director standpoint. But to answer your question, Marco, I think that audiences will turn when the narrative turns. Right now, the narrative is bad, regardless of what the facts are. The narrative says Marvel is in the shits, and so from the audience standpoint, Marvel's in the shits. Deadpool will bring it back.
Yeah, Deadpool's always going to be the one that brings it back. It sells, and this is the MCU Deadpool, so they're going to lean heavy into that.
Well, and everybody loves Ryan Reynolds, so of course it's gonna make press and all that.
Hey, he just paid for one of his football players' wives to get a second opinion on a cancer thing. So hey,
I don't care.
Iman Vellani doing the press for this movie, man, would have been so good.
Well, we're gonna get out of here. Hopefully, you enjoyed our conversation as much as we enjoyed the movie. We got to give it quick ratings. Quick ratings. I will say a 7.5.
Oh yeah, 7.5.
I give it a 7.
I think what my system is 8.5.
8.5. Whoa,
wow.
holy shit.
I'm telling you, I had a tremendous time.
The last time I remember Cale giving a movie over a 7 was...
Well,
That was a train coming into station, I believe.
Cale's locked in with the audience score because it's the same, 85. So,
and longtime listeners may want to know my wife's opinion. She absolutely loved Captain Marvel. She came on the show to defend it. She couldn't make it today, but this is what she wanted when she read Captain Marvel. Kelly Sue DeConnick's Captain Marvel. This is her Captain Marvel. She was beaming.
Nice.
So
we'll let Jess's opinion be the last one. If you guys enjoyed this and you want to support us further, patreon.com/thecomics is the best way to do that. We have a lot of exclusive stuff over there. If you've never heard of us before, we do a live show, 2 live shows every week. One on Saturdays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern. The other on Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. That is Pals Pulls. That's where we review comics. The main shows on Saturdays is where we talk about the industry, comic book news, movie news, etc., etc. Thank you so much for joining us. Until the next movie review, we'll see you then. Take care, guys.